All right, we ready for the big reveal? Oh my gosh, you're just hanging on, aren't you? Hanging on, hanging on. Oh man, this is awesome. This guy is stubborn. Oh, there it is. Welcome back to the shop. My name's Jamie. Today's a pretty exciting day. We've got this post-drill restoration that's taken longer than I would have wanted it to. It's a lot of videos, so appreciate you sticking around if you've watched them all. If you haven't watched them all, I guess today's maybe the best one. So we're going to finish up the construction of this drill, and we're also going to mount it right here on the wall. So I've taken some time this morning to get this set up. I've got the board mounted, and then this is just kind of a floating wall here. So I have a brace that I've put in. This drill overall weighs over 100 pounds. So I want to make sure that it's pretty good and sturdy. So it's partially assembled now, so before it gets too heavy, I'm going to go ahead and mount it up on the wall, and then we'll do the final assembly up on the wall. That's just a little bit too high. What I could do. These square-headed lag bolts don't all have the same exact diameter or dimensions. That's why this one is just spinning. All right, that feels pretty solid. You know, I've got to say, the more that I work on this thing, the more that I like it. It's definitely kind of grown on me. I was originally thinking I'd fix it up and just sell it, you know, kind of move it on to the next owner. But I am definitely growing more fond of this thing. I think it looks great here in the shop. So I don't have a lot of room. I know a lot of guys don't have a lot of room. And right now I have the Bridgeport table moved all the way to the left just so that I can work. But I have thought through this a little bit. The table swings, so I can move that out of the way when if the Bridgeporter's over and back. So I think that will be handy. And then also the down shaft here can come up higher if I need it. So I think 99% of the time this will be in just the perfect spot. On the drill itself, there's a stub shaft, and I wasn't quite sure what it was to be used for. And what they pointed out was that this drive handle and this drive gear actually separates from this axle. So this axle will stay in the drill, and then the drive gear can come off and go to that stub axle, which gives you a different gear ratio, different torque. So that got me thinking, because as far as I knew, this was just one piece. But upon looking a little closer, I can see there's a pin here. So it doesn't go all the way through, so I can't see it on the other side. So I want to see if I can get this so I can separate it from the shaft. As I said, I don't think it's coming through. I'm just going to give this a couple of taps and just see what it does. Maybe there's something I can learn from this, because I'm not sure how this pin is supposed to come out. Just looking for any kind of movement, just to see. Yeah, I'm not picking up any. So how would that guy get out of there? Well, I guess I could drill it out. Could that be permanent, where it has something to do with how the gear is affixed to the handle part? So perhaps the shaft just comes out on its own, and this might be a false lead. This might just be holding the gear to this main piece here. So I'm going to try to see if we can separate this whole mechanism. Okay, my first try is I have an extra piece of this bar stock that I made the handle from. I've got it in there to see if I get any kind of movement. Not seeing really anything here. No, so easy idea did not work. I have to try something else. All right, over at the vise, I've got the flat bar, and then where there was where the set bolts into this shaft, there's a divot, and so I'm using a piece of round bar to try to get into that divot to give me something so that when I'm tapping here, it's just not pulling the shaft straight down. So let's give this a try and see. You know, it's giving me some sounds like it's doing something. It's hard to tell. All right, well, that didn't hold it, so we'll have to think of another plan. So while I'm heating this up, I'm noticing that pin, the grit and grease that's underneath there is boiling up and through, so I wonder if I can learn anything from that. All right, let's see. It's hot. Nope, not seeing it. Got a nice blue color, but I'm not seeing it move. Okay, got another idea. All right, my next idea is I'm coming back to this circle here. I originally, again, I think it is a blind. It's a pin that's just holding the gear to this section here, but I'm just not so sure anymore. So what I'm going to do is try and I'm going to tap and just see if I can get it to spin. No, it's really not moving anywhere. Nope. Whatever this is, it's just kind of getting destroyed. So I'm jumping ahead. I think you're just going to be drilling this guy out. So I'm looking for that change in chip. When it starts to get spirally, at that point I think I'm down deep enough. I'm hitting that shaft. Okay, so there I can clearly see there are some threads in there. So whatever that set screw was without a head, you know, was definitely holding this guy back. So let's try to get that shaft off again. All right, I don't remember which take this is. Take 7. I've heated it again. Let's see if it's more cooperative. All right, so I've sprayed some Gibbs in there. This stuff, and you know, after I've heated it, this Gibbs product is pretty amazing. And now I have this 2-foot bar. Oh, it's moving. Oh, look at that. Yep. Okay. So that's interesting. Now, will it move off the shaft? That's the question. So the stub shaft that's sticking out has a groove in it that I guess that set screw sits in. So I'm wondering if this thing also has a groove. And there's probably some residual from that set screw down inside there that's maybe preventing it from going out. Because yeah, it's not going out. But this is promising. So that tells me that there's something maybe there's some material, it's hot, left down in there. No, I don't think there's anything left in there. But what could be holding that up from going out? All right, we're here in the annex. Okay, we're here in the annex. And what I'm going to try and do is see if I can push this down into the shaft to try to get it kind of loosened up. It should be able to slide. I can see the end of the shaft through that opening. So let's see if we can just get it to move. Okay. You should know right away how this is going to work. And it's going in nicely. Yep. All right. So we're moving. I'm going to bring it down. Not all the way through because I might want to use that hole to lever something in there to push it back. But so we definitely have movement. Let's see where I've pushed it into that opening. Now we're going to try to bring it back out. All right, it's moving, just not moving as freely as I would like it to. All right, now we've made some progress. We can see this groove that we couldn't see before. So we've moved it, I don't know, about 1/4 of an inch. It wants to. It just doesn't. All right, here it goes. Have I said that yet? Here it goes. We're almost there. think I have. This feels like progress, though. All right, we ready for the big reveal? Oh my gosh, you're just hanging on, aren't you? Hanging on, hanging on. Oh man, this is awesome. This guy is stubborn. Oh, there it is. What in the what is happening here? Man, that was quite a thing. There's no keyway in this piece, which I didn't expect there to be. The stud didn't have one. There's a flat spot here, and then there's the hole where that set screw would set into. Okay, good. Let's clean this guy up and start putting this post drill back together. Finally. All right, so after all that, let's get this thing together. All right, this guy is the star of the show today. How much time we spent working on this one. But came out pretty good. After all that, we want to make sure that we get the set screw here lined up with the shaft. It's going to take just a little bit of feel here. Make sure it drops in there. Okay, so we definitely have the bolt drop down into the shaft. I can feel it in there. get these gears lined up before we tighten them down. So get this guy. I want this back gear lined up with this main gear, and then this is a critical juncture here. We sort of have a pinion set up, and it looks like we've got good meshing. So I like this one where it's at. So we'll lock him down first. Alright, that looks like it's in good shape. To be honest, I don't remember where exactly all the bolts go. Should have done a better job tracking those down. So as far as the length and the style, I might need to come back and redo some of this. All right, looks like I need another one of these bolts. This goes into this little spot here on the side. And I know that I only have one of these, so I'm going to have to make one. All right, that looks pretty good. That'll do the job. Okay, now that I've got my stuff together, I've gone through and made sure that I know where all the bolts go. We had to make a couple of new ones because we were missing some. That's always a blast. All right, so let's see, let's put Oop, it goes the other way. And I noticed there was some extra nuts, but one thing that I'm finding is that even though this is threading in, there's a lot of pieces that they put a nut on the other side as well. So even though it's threading into the cast piece, there's another nut on the other side. It almost feels like it's acting like a lock nut. Now this little, there's a flathead bolt screw here, and quite honestly, that's where it goes, but I don't know what it does. It looks like it locks into this piece. So I've got a couple of pieces here that will go in and they'll set inside this bronze section to help move it up and down. It was missing one of these before, so not that I used it before, but it should work much nicer now. It has the appropriate parts and pieces. I know my new friends at the Post-Drill Madness Facebook site are gonna laugh at me for not knowing exactly how this goes together, but I'm figuring it out as we go, and they have been super helpful to this point. All right, so I've got those two bolts set, and I'm just kind of working them both in at the same time so that they're kind of equidistant. And then now is when I think what we'll do is take that and get that lock washer, that nut to kind of lock it in. All right, so I'll come back for that. I want to keep everything kind of loose until we know exactly what's going on. Again, that is interesting. Why that would have a piece like that. All right, this adjustable handle. If you're wondering why I'm using an adjustable wrench, because these things are the bane of anyone's existence, but these 100-year-old bolts weren't always made the same way. So just because it's supposed to be 9/16 doesn't mean that it really is. Another thing that I did is I bought some washers. But the standard washers you get now at Home Depot, they're just very big. They have a pretty good diameter, which I didn't like, so I bought smaller washers and went so that the head of the bolt, or the nut in this case, you can see there, it's not a big huge washer under there, but that's a huge pain in the neck because you have to drill out the inside of the washer. I used a grinder. Yeah, that's something I don't want to have to do again. Okay, so this handle goes up. Don't know exactly where I want it, but Get it here started. We'll get that pretty tight. We don't want it to fall down on me. I'm going to crank it on. I don't want to gouge up the paint. We'll just get it close. Okay. All right. So then, if this moves to open, then you can control that. That's interesting. I don't know if you'd ever go down that far, but the way that that could bump right into there. Huh, I wonder if that's why this bolt was missing on this side. And it probably has something to do with that screw. Maybe there's another type of a pin that goes in there. That's what I'm guessing. There's going to be another type of pin that goes in, holds onto the bronze piece so that you don't end up bashing into your gears. All right, and if we move this to closed, yeah, it should. Oh, this is all. It's really loose. All right, we'll have to adjust that. That's interesting. I guess I need to bring the. I'm going to need to squeeze this down again. Okay. Petrified that this thing's going to come down and bonk me on the head. Take that guy right out. Although it is threaded, so something threads in there. Okay, well, we'll just be careful for right now. All right, then we have, oh, what I'm missing is this, not missing, but I haven't put in yet, is the spring. I had rigged up this bolt on the inside so that I could keep it stretched out while I did some work on it. And let's see if we can get it off the top of that. Without too much pain. Literally. All right, here we go. And then this comes on the back side. See if we can do this. We can. This might take a minute. All right. All right, so good. Next thing, I'm going to put the flywheel here on the back. I'm going to squeeze this guy down so that we have some better connection. You can see it's just loose right now, so I just didn't tighten it down enough when I was doing it. And we're going to be almost ready to go. And then I'll, after the flywheel's on, make sure that that gear is tightened up. All right, so to tighten this guy up, I've loosened up these sets, and I have some spring compressors, which should work nicely. I don't want to go too far because I feel like loosening it might be a pain in the neck. So that's not too much, but it could be, oh, it's still not enough. Okay, so when you've got this spring up here, or maybe, interesting. Interesting. Okay, let's take these guys off. Maybe I see what's happening. I didn't get an instruction manual of this, so bear with me. So right now, actually it's not. So right now I have a, okay, so it does feel like there's a little bit of play in that. When this is coming down, let me open it. Let's see if that's closed. There's that. It's opening up now when it's closed and I tug on it, but I'm not sure if that's even part of the operation. So if I'm not pulling on it, the spring is what's giving it the tension. And I think that when this rotates and it's having a load pushed up on it, I think we'll be okay. So I think that this is all right the way that it is. Okay. Next, let's see about this flywheel. Was a huge pain in the neck to get off. Let's see what it's going to take to get it back on. All right, so if I kind of spin it, it's moving, it's getting closer, and then it kind of bound up. Okay. There it goes. Getting closer. Not much further now. All right, excellent. So we want to give this gear, we'll give the main gear a little bit of space. We don't want it too tight. So give that one a little bit of space, which gives this drive gear a little bit of space. setting this set bolt on that gear. That's good. Gotta watch your fingers. This whole thing wants to just eat. It wants to eat. All right, and then the flywheel, I'll give him just a little bit of space. We want this tight. I don't want this coming off. Okay. All right. Flywheel, drive gear, outside drive gear, handle shaft. I've got a good mesh. Just a little bit of backlash in these gears here. Just a little bit of backlash in those gears. All right. That seems to be working. All of these things are loose. Still have the question on this pin here. I think I know what I'm going to do. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out and I'm going to use that bolt. I'm going to cut it and I'm going to put a slot in it to make it like a flat head so that it'll screw flush with this piece right here. And then that little screw on the top must be, again, another set screw. So we'll crank that down on. And that'll allow me to get full travel without smashing into the gears. Okay. All right, so I've got this little set screw. Should work quite nicely. Just gotta get it lined up. There we go. All right, so I don't want to crank it in too much. Let's get a good feel for it. That looks good. And now we know what this screw's for. Excellent, and we've got all the clearance we need. Actually, we don't. This is hitting the gear, so I need to back this off a little bit. So that it'll go more that way. That'll allow it to go down. Which means I need to tighten up this side. To pull the arm over. There we go. Okay, good. Yeah, we don't need anything hitting that gear. One aspect of the build that I neglected to videotape was the assembly of this downfeed arm. Assembled without any adjustments or any washers, which I'll talk about in a minute, it was angled such that the wheel at the bottom of the arm was cocked to the left, and it was actually riding interior to that drive gear with the eccentric cam on it, and it was getting caught and hung up on that set screw bolt that holds that gear to the shaft. Clearly that wasn't going to work. So I did two things to fix it. One is I put a washer in between the mounting bracket and the arm. That helped. But I also put one washer on the bottom bolt of the mounting bracket. The washer was in between the bracket and the main housing, so you can't see it from this picture. But what it did was it had the effect of kicking out the bottom part of that bracket, which therefore, as looking at the front of the machine, helped rotate that arm counterclockwise. And that allowed me to get that arm kind of more perpendicular or more aligned so that the roller on that arm was lined up exactly with that eccentric on that gear. And that allowed for much smoother movement. That's a key part of this installation. And if you're going through your post-drill restoration and having trouble with that, maybe that little tip will work out for you. All right, here's the post-drill. It is done. We are all tuned up, oiled up. Even have a piece of work here ready to go. You can see I've tested it. It works. It's a beautiful machine. Really happy with how this guy came out. All right, let's give you a little bit of a close-up so you can see what's happening. Here with the hand crank on this stud, what this is doing is driving this large gear, which in turn is hitting this pinion gear and then turning the bit. You can disengage this handle. Let's do that. You can disengage the handle, put it here, and it's on a different gear. So that then drives this gear, which drives that gear down in the back to then drive the main gear. This one will give you a lot more torque. Kind of slows things down a bit. So I don't imagine I'll be using this one very often. Easy enough to change after all that time getting this guy off the axle shaft. There it is. So now we can get it cranked up. And here you really feel the benefit of the flywheel. That'll get things moving for you. This thing will want to take your fingers off kind of everywhere, so you got to be careful. Let's get it cranked up. This is the automatic down feed. And as I crank away at the wheel, see that engage. shoulders. Feel it starting to burn the shoulders. There are your chips. Excellent. 1904 Blacksmith post drill. Champion blower and forge number 200. Restoration is complete.
This is cool. It's getting harder.
Now it's getting through.
Yes. Look at that. This part is just the coolest thing.
There it is. You can stop turning.
Oh, I think I went through.
Thank you for hanging in there. This has been a long, long journey on this restoration. Took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So excited with how this turned out. My original plan was to kind of let it go and move it on to its next owner, but you know, a couple of things. It fits nicely right here. I've got room around the Bridgeport. It looks amazing. Definitely going to be a conversation piece when people come into the shop. So it's really happy with how that guy turned out. Thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate it. Love the comments and all the support from my subscribers. So thank you very much for those guys that have subscribed. It means a lot to me. So this one's in the bank. Can't wait to see what's next. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Good luck in your home projects, and thanks for following mine.